want to change something, right? Any one of these can also work as an experimentation. So we'll have to see what exactly does Imperial want to go with right here. Because usually when the going gets tough, a lot of teams default to their comfort.
The tough gets going. True. Yeah, I mean, when the tough gets going, you just got to go back to comfort picks. I don't know whether Imperial is going to be in that particular situation, but I think for Team SMG, there's a lot less stress on them in comparison to their counterparts. I'm seeing the Yishin Shin once again getting banned out. The Angela, Team SMG on blue side and Imperial on the red side. I'm noticing similar bans to game number 1. I'm just going to double check this with Arashi. Is that correct?
For SMG, in game number 1, they banned the Yusunchin, Angela, and Wan. So that's actually the same for Imperial in game number 1. They banned the Mathilda, Nolan, and Arlet. So
they
hey,
gotta ban that out. They gotta take out the Matilda.
They
right?
gotta.
Yeah, they
Okay.
okay. All right.
All right. So on the dot, things are working very similar to game number 1. SMG, is it going to be the exact same thing, or are they going to switch things up because this is potentially the final
Bruno's
game?
open.
Oh, man.
Might as well.
Might as well. It's going fast. This draft is quick.
I would love to see Imperio take the Cho.
Oh,
Like that. I feel like that could set things up. You know, not sure how confident Sefe would be with that pick, but again, the fact that they took out the Matilda, you know, obviously towards Miko, you grab yourself the Cho, so Miko doesn't have it. He's caused havoc so far, right? So maybe get yourself that. You can go then for those pickoffs. You can go for that early kind of centric pickoff potential, build the snowball, build the momentum early, and then also, yeah, have a fallback for the objective takes for the Lord dances as well.
you have to keep in mind that the presence of a Cho also deters assassins. So if Imperial pick it up, technically they're getting a bit more security for Aurora if he wants to go for something a bit more aggressive. However, there is going to be a problem because like in game 1, it wasn't a Cho. It was a Grok that Nico used to really shut down Imperial, but this is the Daiworth, man. A standout pick technically for Marquinhos.
Yeah. This is what I've been excited to see about. The last time he played it, it was something that I was curious about because the EXP, it used to be like, God, Dairoth used to be the king. It's like, you want a 1v1, it's over when you pick Dairoth, and then Khalid starts coming in, and then Trizla started to get up, and Yuzong obviously is going to be there, but doesn't usually win in the lanes as hard as he does now.
Yeah, the winning in the lane is definitely something that's important right here. But as you mentioned, Gideon, there's so many ways now to actually match it, and you don't even have to win technically. If you can shut down the lane and at least come out even, that's going to be enough technically to shut down a hero like a Daiworth that relies so much on snowballing. On first SMG though, they pick up the Joy, and we have seen it flex over to the EXP lane, by the way, so keeping it a bit more flexible technically.
Okay, I like it a lot. Very similar, a bit of both of game 1 as well as game 2. Bans from game 1, picks from game 2.
There's a little variation here. Oh yes, there it is. All right. I'm already gonna say it. I'm liking it.
You're liking it?
I'm loving it.
Even if Fredrin goes into the EXP.
Whoa, what if it is a flex and Dairoth goes in the jungle?
Oh wait, you're right.
Red
be
in
kinda
the XP.
nasty.
It'd be crazy. It'd be wild for the wild card.
Very fitting.
I would think that it would be a bit too bold, especially with Team SMG having access to the Way of the Dragon, right? Like, I would much rather be on a Fredrin than I would be on a Dairoth, because at least with the Fredrin, you know you can actually take that type of damage in comparison to Dairoth, where it's like, ah, man, I missed the kill because Tro kicked me out of the way.
Yeah, mostly when Fredrin does pop up, he just automatically goes to the sandbag, right? Like, he is the sandbag. So this, again, I'm hoping it's going in towards Aurora here, and they can build around this. I love what they're doing. Hopefully they can get even the last 2 picks that they really need, especially in the gold lane. Ooh. Hopefully it's not, like, I don't have anything against Clint, right? But hopefully we see some variation there as well.
Right. I mean, that's probably why SMG is also banning away the Ixia. They might be reading something from Imperial, and the fact that they banned out the Lilia, I think is so good. Because usually, especially if you're trying to contest for the neutral objectives, what's not noticed is the damage that this Lilia outputs and the slow, right? Now having a tanky jungler, having the Lilia denied away from SMG could be a great solution to that problem and also the Nether Realm counter.
Well, that's what makes Saksa untouchable, and that's why he's one of the untouchables, because 4 out of the 5 SMG players are in the top 5 of at least deaths per game. Miko and Stormy at 0.88 and Smooth at 1.0, Saksa at 113. Now, the one player, we're not gonna give too many hints. You've got a 50-50 chance of guessing which one it is, but let's get back into the draft. Now, It's going to be Imperial making that first pick in the second phase.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm still loving it. I'm happy.
All right.
It's shaping up a bit more, man.
Yeah.
But on that point, by the way, about the least, the lowest death ratio, it also comes with a very low kill ratio. So you have to remember the context of that clip. I mean, of that fact. But for SMG now, they go for the dominant EXP laner once more, and then they have the Valentina. So it's going to be a duel of Netherrealms. But both mid laners, both side laners, technically have a healthy amount of damage to really dish out and take away the HP of that Netherrealm.
Okay. That's a good amount of AoE overall. They've got some decent pickoff. I feel like, at least for the side of Team SMG, their battle lines aren't as clear-cut as it was in game number 1 and as well as game number 2. It looks like they might even be playing like 3-2. Oh, Guinevere, we completely forgot about that.
Wow.
We certainly did.
A pick that was talked about so much before leading into the wild card, who has had kind of I feel like an up and down performance, but we'll see if it works here.
I mean, you have to shout out Yasu right here, because he said we're not going to see any Guineveres in wildcard for the most part, and he would hate to see Fredrin, and it's both happening right now. So shout out Yasu in the backstage. We love you, man.
I mean, who could have seen this coming, right? Who can see this coming? I think with the
Yasu
meta,
can.
I mean, Yasu can apparently, but I think that overall the meta as we know it has a lot of different variations in terms of style that kind of counter each other in very small, significant ways. And then once we start getting to the higher tiers, the higher tier level of competition, M5 in particular, that's where it gets exciting. As we get into it, the wild card stage, we might find our first representative heading over to the Philippines, or is this the beginning of the end? It's going to be Team SMG versus Imperial E-Sports.
Now you have to really wonder, what can Aurora do on this Fredrin? It has healthy clear, and it's a fighter up against an assassin. It does seem like he's kind of slow on the clear though. Saksa actually getting it done before him. Is it going to lead to more aggressive moves into the jungle of Imperial E-Sports?
Oh, this is already the attention that needs to happen here for Imperial. Pay attention to some of these side lanes. Allow also Yer to have a game for himself, because he struggled so far through this series, and things can fall into place for them. Again, a lot relies on Steffe here using the Guinevere, who in theory should work out really well, just like this. Stormy gonna be just fine. Drag back though, still gonna be working for it. Not gonna be able to get it. Fetchin, one hit away, will survive. And Miko with some finesse.
Dude, Miko was like, I could have taken the kill, but I'm not. Just know, you could have died there, brother.
Yeah, just know that it's possible. It's my choice. But man, we can see the difference in attention though from the roamers. Earlier, Miko was all up in the gold lane trying to swing the balance there. But for Imperial, they're really wanting to really make this EXP lane work. If Marquinhos can snowball, it's good for Imperial because Marquinhos is strong, but it's also going to shut down Smooth.
In the meantime, we're seeing a lot of motions across the map here. And so, I mean, considering that Steffe has been pretty good on these engagements, I have no doubt that this Guinevere is going to do a decent amount of work in the game, especially once they start to hit that level 4. But in the meantime, right, let's just look at the way the map is just split. The entire river is being controlled by Imperial.
That's usually a very good play, but for Miko now, he is just so annoying, man. He can get away from so many different situations. Imperial, they might get the first turtle in 3 games.
This is what I like to see here. Imperial taking action, spatial migration on Stormy, and that's going to be an Imperial turtle finally on the board for them throughout this series.
Yeah, I mean, in this entire interaction, at least for the side of Team SMG, Saksa is power farming, right? That's his goal. He doesn't want a team fight just yet. He knows that his team needs just a wee bit of time, so he's going to play towards that gold side as much as he can.
But Aurora now getting stuck with the Dragon.
Wave the Dragon going to find Aurora. The rest of the team coming through. Appraiser's Wrath to follow. Abysm Strike can't find the target just yet. Steffi going to jump in. Stormy's the target, that one. Smooth on the run. Still looking for that first kill. Violent Requiem going to be used, but nobody falls.
An absolute slugfest, and no one falls out, and Imperial, they equalize. Aurora taking away the orange buff that he exchanged with Saksa. And you're seeing now that this tankiness is really allowing them to really contest ground against Team SMG, so it's becoming a more even brawl technically, and even in the laning phase, right? The fact that they have a Brody and a Dyrot, they're really going all in to fix all the problems they had in the first 2 games.
Yeah, I think they might have a really good recipe here, and this could be an interesting lane gang situation on that top side. I'm noticing that Stefe is walking up in that brush, making sure that it's going to be difficult, and even for Yor, he's not revealing just yet. He's positioning in an interesting manner. Miko going to show up now.
Usually we also see that Stefe kind of goes over aggressive and gets punished, but on this Guinevere pick, your engage is a built-in escape into it as well. So this is a really great pick that allows him to be a bit more risky and open up more space and possibilities for his entire team.
Well, for the time being, no first blood. Despite how much this has been a slugfest in the early days of this game, and especially when it comes down to invading jungles, I'm surprised nobody's died just yet.
I think this is good for Imperio though, right? Get on the board objectively, try to control some of these, your side of the jungle and everything else, allow your side lanes to farm up, and that's where you want to be. Now they found themselves in a good situation to contest the second turtle. Going to be forcing out Stormy here. What's he gonna do? He uses the Nether Realm himself, and now Miko has to rely on the team. Imperio's still gonna be working for it. Smooth already using the last Insanity. Saksa as well, battling for it, and Imperio is winning the fight. And they will go for this turtle as they do. They secure it. Oh! Flickers in, finds Saksa, and now Miko could be the one in trouble. Stephanie won't be able to land the spatial migration, but meanwhile on the other side, another body drops for Team SMG. Still gonna be working on Smooth here under the turret, looking for it. Yor will grab it. And Miko.
+1 even. Imperio, they did all that without Marquinhos. He's all the way to the bottom side, still pushing, man. That's an overwhelming victory on all fronts for Imperio E-SPORT. And what a big change from the previous games. Now they can kite back, now they can sustain and actually brawl in. And even Yor has more space to maneuver right there. And the fact that he held on to the torn apart memory for so long made it baited out several spells from Team SMG that were just waiting for that hit, for that ultimate to hit.
Okay, Aurora once again gonna get kicked by Miko though. He bit off too much as he falls, and now the rest of the team gonna be running Smooth with the last Insanity, but he has to back off. Steffi gonna be able to jump in, gets the Requiem off, and Smooth falls. So Team SMG still fighting here, but Imperio in the driver's seat.
Wow, that was actually pretty interesting because at least Profession, right? He didn't have his ult at that point of time when Aurora went for the invade, but as soon as they start making their way out and going for the disengage, it comes back just in time. So really nicely done coming in from Imperial, and Stefe is just opening up so many opportunities in these quick scrambles against Team SMG.
We talk about it so much on the desk, but the spammable nature, the fact that it's on such a low cooldown but such high impact, that's a big problem for Team SMG right here. They don't know when it's going to begin, but look at Miko.
Miko on the hunt. There's the way the dragon. They're going for Makino again. He's going to have to flicker out.
Oh.
Stormy making his way. Torn apart memory. Can't find Miko though. Now Stormy going to be in trouble. Marquino finds the kill. Finds the mark. And Imperio still with the lead they have. They make their way to the turtle.
Now 2.6k gold behind. Team SMG, they're the ones lacking a bit of damage. Even Smooth not really winning out in the lane. Now he can really bully these other fighters and deal true damage to them without getting completely punished and possibly caught out with the spammable nature of Imperial Esports right here.
Oh, well, they're not going to go ahead and take it. They just want to go ahead and fight Smooth using the last Insanity. They have the information. Still going to be working on that mid turret, trying to get it down. Smooth gets out. And now Imperial has decided, let's just get this third turtle. They clean sweep the turtles for this third game.
Whew, what a turnaround coming in from Imperial. It feels like they figured it out now. They've kind of plugged up all the holes, and more importantly, Marquino, he is coming up big time. It's really, really huge. Like, his early game damage, especially against Zaza earlier, is definitely something that Team SMG need to start respecting. They can't just walk up like that.
Yeah, the Abyssum Strike, the fact that it's AoE and there's a lot of setup available to lock someone down for it is definitely dangerous, and now Smooth once again has become the main target.
Again, focusing on Smooth. This is his job as this X-Borg once again, the fight for this purple. Gonna be taken, but look at the entrance.
Whoa.
Miko, can he find the target they're looking for? A whole bunch of flickers being utilized, and they pull off, they disengage. Marquino showing up as well. They have to respect the Dyrov here.
I think for SMG, the play is just to wait for that late game, man. Stormy's going to end up doing a lot more damage depending on what ultimate gets picked up. And if you look at the overall composition, the Dyrad is supposedly going to fall off unless Marquinhos builds full damage, which he usually does. But the Joy can do AoE burst damage. Technically, it can count as DPS as well due to the rhythm, the electrifying beats. And later on, the Bruno can do a lot more damage consistently compared to the Brody. So that is where I think Team SMG can get a guaranteed victory. If they want to take fights before that, though, that's their call.
Yeah, looking at the gold lead so far, 3.1k, a majority of that is actually coming from Marquinhos. He is 2.3k ahead of Smooth. Smooth was dominating in the past 2 games, and now Marquinhos is like, this is my time to shine.
In the jungle, though, you're seeing Saksa actually go a lot better than Aurora, but Miko now getting jumped on.
Miko should be fine. Torn apart memory gonna go and come through.
Oh!
He isn't fine as he drops in the jungle. Right now, Imperio just finding win after win.
They are starting to snowball. They're really starting to snowball. And, oh, do they want to kind of set up an ambush on this one? No. They're just going to take the Lord, make it quick and easy. Since it's only the 9th minute, no point waiting all for so long. We can just wait to clear it out and then wait until the Luminous Lord comes up after this one.
It's such a good solution for the Cho, the Brody pick, right? You can stun him, cancel the engage, and if he is trying to be pesky, he'll escape with a sliver of HP like always, but then the Torn Apart memory secures that kill like we saw earlier. So now, even Miko is getting pressured, and he can't really be the same kind of nuisance that he was in the first 2 games.
See how far that is actually going to go, right? Because, again, Sasa hasn't yet to scale. And for the most part, even Smooth, pretty under-level considering that Marquinhos is 3 levels above him. Even when we come down to Stormy, a level down compared to Fashion. And then we look down towards Miko, 1 level down. And finally, Saksa, level 13, the only person who is actually ahead of the curve.
I would say out of everything that we talked about before this game, Imperio has answered that, right? They deal with Miko, they keep things at bay. Now they're going to be putting the pressure on Smooth. They get the flicker out, so still going to be working around this Lord push. You can see Marquinhos walking it through, and this will definitely be Imperio knocking on the base of Team SMG.
How long are they going to do this for? As they crack open that tier 2, this is where it really starts to get scary because we know how Imperio like to close out these games and start scrambling.
Ooh, see if they can still put the pressure some more. They get the shields out. Lord finally taken care of. Imperio, given the 5k lead, they might just be happy with that and take the resources that they can for now.
3 towers there for Team SMG, and this is a big problem, right? For both these teams, they don't really have a long range. With the mid laners all the short range fighting ultimates, they have to bank on a big team fight, potentially in the base. And we all know that's the most dangerous situation right there, especially for Team SMG with a lot of crowd control and a lot of ways to really counter-engage. The only saving grace they have right here is the fact that Smooth has that second chance at getting picked off with that Firaga armor. All things considered, the fact that they're going to go up against a Faramis and a Fredrin as well as a Guinevere, they're doing a great job just avoiding these fights because it's a lot of engage, a lot of crowd control available on such short cooldown for Imperio E-SPORT.
Yeah, and I mean, if anything is going to change for the side of Team SMG, then they're just going to have to be patient, right? They've got no outer turrets, no kind of fail safes to fall back to, especially when they have to try and contest this upcoming Empowered Lord. And for the time being, it's really, can they find that big pick with Miko? It doesn't necessarily have to be Yor, but it just needs to be an isolated target.
Miko gonna give the go signal. They get the Nether Realm to save Aurora. Can they win the fight? Marquinhos from the backside. He's looking for Sasa. A Wisdom Strike comes through. They find the perfect target, and Miko's in trouble to make it 3 down. It's a triple for Marquinhos. Maniac. Can he get another? And Fashion will get Smooth. What a play for Imperio.
4 flickers to make this happen for a complete wipeout against Team SMG. What a finish coming in from Imperio.
Oh, and with that, they're gonna march it in. Imperio came out swinging and will extend the series as they take game 3.
Man, what a show. Marquinhos! The crazy laning potential in the Dyrad, man. He just finds a way to make it work. We thought it was gonna fall off, but no, man. Instead, he gets a Maniac out of nowhere.
Yeah, and with the help of Veshin, right, there was a moment where I thought, okay, he's got the first 3, the fourth one, and the fourth and maybe fifth one might be a bit sketchy, but man, that nether realm makes the difference.
Oh, we saw him waiting for that moment. He had Sasa in his sights, and then he just ends up getting a maniac from that. Again, Dairoth, one of the picks that, you know, might work for some teams, but this time it worked perfectly for what Imperio wanted to do. And like I said, I love the fact that this time we saw the Fredrin come through, the utility option for Imperio this time. It worked wonders for them, especially, again, this is the first game now where they were able to get those objectives they needed early on. The turtles secured by them, all 3 actually.
Well, you do wonder though, right? It's the 3rd game, technically, right? So why didn't they try this out in game number 2? Like, there was potential right there. You have to wonder if it took that much longer for them to really process and find winning solutions. But when they did, you can't really argue with the results, man. That was a dominant showing all the way from the laning phase, in the jungle, in the neutral objective contest, and even in the teamfight execution. I think Imperio E-Sports in this game completely just outdone SMG at every single level.
I agree. I think, you know, everything that we were talking about at the beginning of the game, all the problems that we were mentioning over the past 2 have been corrected for the most part of it, right? Which is great to see, but now it's time for SMG to actually get challenged. This time, we're going to go on a short break. When we come back, more MLBB action.
Kind of need a break, right? Because he dealt with so much for the first 2 games, and then he comes out swinging here on this Dairoth pick, a pick that you're not really expecting here. What a performance from him.
Just came back with a vengeance, and he didn't even like juke us out with the break call there. But yes, Marquinhos surprised us all the exact same way, man. This is why the Dairoth was respect banned eventually. So we'll see if that actually becomes a thing, because you know, you take out one thing, others come through. So the fact that Marquinhos now has flexed out his Dairoth pick, this might just become a catalyst to really enable the rest of his team to really find more picks that can work against SMG.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because usually when you have damaged Dairoths, you get punished very, very hard. It's like, yes, you win the lane, but then how do you participate in team fights? How do you stay relevant in these moments? And I think, you know, Marquinhos, and especially for the rest of his team, that split-second decision of noticing that Team SMG was falling back into the funnel of their own jungle, that's when Marquinhos knew, I can do this. I can 100% get a lot of people in that Abysm Strike.
Love that he has the pose as well, as he got the Maniac, you know, in this game. So, again, it's just a great performance from him and the team as a whole. I said this in the game, the boxes that they needed to check to win this game number 3 and extend the series, I feel like they did all of it, and then some. You know, that's one thing. The other is still, if there's more utility up for favor, if they want to actually just lock in the Fredrin once again for Aurora, work around that, then I think that's going to be great, because really there was no room for Team SMG to maneuver, to move around with this game.
I think it's really good that they actually balance it out, right? They went for a Fredrin as well, and then with the Dairoth. So technically, the lack of tankiness in the EXP lane gets solved out. So his role is almost like the assassin is not in the jungle, it's in the EXP lane instead. And it really works out well here, because without him, right, for the most part, the team is self-sufficient. So the presence of Marquinhos becomes a bit more optional, and that's where you have no idea. Is he in the fight? Is he not? If you don't really read it up properly, he shows up right behind you, and it's just a world of trouble. And the early game diving from Imperio has always been great. They've always showcased it in the previous matches, and you're seeing it again against Team SMG.
Yeah, they've done a phenomenal job here, right? I mean, so many times that we were expecting certain things from the side of Team SMG, and especially with the way that the first minute and a half actually went, we cut back to Imperio, right? Their communication is getting cleaner. Their drafts have been really, really good in this game, but then we start thinking about the adaptations, because we see the problems here, right? As you mentioned before, the lack of that tanky front line, the fact that they're frontline together, the fact that their laners were actually struggling because of that pressure. Does that mean that Team SMG has to go above and beyond, or is this just a quick, simple fix if they want to deal with a composition similar to this in game number 4?
I feel like they got to do a bit more than just, it's not just a simple fix, in my opinion, because the fact that it took so long for Imperio to find that solution, I think it's the same way. They fixed a lot of things at the same time right here. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes more than one game for SMG to adjust, but it is SMG we're talking about. They have been on point with that adjustment, with that correction. And noticing the combos as well from the side of Imperio, I think you have to also mention the fact that Euro was doing a lot better here as well, with more space to do damage, with the fact that there is a physical defense shred coming in from Marquinhos, right? That torn apart memory does a lot of damage, and similar to the Clint, it's almost like a better Clint, right? Same kind of a mobility tool in the second skill, same kind of disable crowd control, and you can also do AoE damage in more or less the same way. So I think it's just a much better pick suited for the playstyle that Imperio are trying to play against SMG.
Okay. Now it's gotten me thinking, right? If we're looking for something similar, because I'm expecting that Team SMG are going to be like, we could just target ban some of these things to kind of push it out of the way so we don't have to think about it, or are they going to let something through? And I have a sneaking suspicion, but for the time being, let's just hope that Imperial are going to stay on this track, because so far the Aurora on this Fredrin is able to take the full brunt of it. He's getting hard targeted, and he's like, all right, I'm willing to take it. My teammates will do the rest.
That's what we said he had to do, and I feel like it worked really well here once again. Go for that utility route, secure these objectives, and then let the other lanes shine. And the fact that we have the Guinevere in play too, I'm kind of thinking maybe this is banned out the next game, because this played a integral part in their success early on, landing those spatial migrations, landing the multiple member violent requiems. Like, it works so well for them, right? And it's kind of finicky, because when you're trying to work against that and you have your own form of the Netherrealm, you're taking that from Feshin, it's too much being thrown at Team SMG to handle, and at one point, it just kind of collapses on top of them. We saw this happen vice versa on Imperio the previous game, right? So this time around, this is where you really wonder, okay, draft-wise, the targeted bans like you mentioned, I still see the YSS being banned out. Maybe now you see them opt for the Guinevere, unless somehow Imperial paints the draft themselves to get this again, because I feel like the Dyroth as well can be shut down if they decided to go for it once again for Game 4.
With Yor being the rich guy and as well as Carry, we're seeing a big flip in how this post-game stats are going to look like. Feshin being the forgotten one this time with 5 assists, and actually Miko being the sandbag of the game. I would have expected the Fredrin to be taking a good amount because Miko was purposely targeting him prior to these upcoming Turtle and even Lord takes, but man, just brutal amounts of damage.
Then the fact that Miko is the sandbag here is very telling, because if it's an all-out brawl again and again, I fully expect Aurora to be the sandbag, but considering that there's a lack of fights here, because SMG, they weren't exactly engaged on, they're kind of